Hey, everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thanks for tuning in today. Today's part 2 of Spirit Guides Answer Your Political Questions. Before we get started, though, I want to show you on the screen a picture of a troll. Okay, not that kind of troll. No, an internet troll that is leaving messages in my comments. Please disregard this troll. Click the 3 dots, report them. Never answer WhatsApp from any of us. This happens to all of us YouTubers at one time or another. Now you know, right? Now you know how to deal with it. It is a troll. Click the 3 dots, report the troll, and move on with your day. But thanks, everybody, for letting me know. I'm super busy right now, so I didn't get to the comments quite as fast as I normally do. Sometimes I get to the comments and take care of the trolls before you guys really have to deal with them yourselves. But in the future, if you wouldn't mind, just simply report the troll for me, and we'll all move on about our business, and the troll will get put into troll jail. Just like Trump, right? What a great segue. Thank you, Spirit Guides. Arraignment, arrested, indicted. He has a parole officer. I mean, come on. This is celebratory. This is celebratory worth information, if you ask me. So I'm still celebrating. As a matter of fact, I wore red. I don't know what color it's showing up to you, but it is red to reclaim red from the Republicans. We're going to reclaim our flag from these people. We're going to be Americans. We're going to be proud to be Americans. No, we're not going to be jingoistic and crazy, but we are going to be proud to be Americans. And we're going to wear the color red and celebrate that we're Americans, and also celebrate that we know that we're not perfect, right? I mean, that's, I think, a major difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. We're not perfect. We know this country isn't perfect. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you a picture of something happening in Russia where there's fire. There's a fire that broke out in a market. And I remember thinking that, yeah, you know, that's what happens when you have a country that has no freedom. They're not used to shenanigans. You know, the United States is used to shenanigans. We're like, oh, dang, you know, the mart is on fire. Somebody call 911. I mean, right? We're messy here. We live in a very messy democracy. Things are not fair. Things are not perfect. But we have freedom, right? And with that comes messiness, right? So here we are. We're going to get through this. We're gonna get to the other side. We're gonna get justice, and it may not be perfect. This is an imperfect union, right? It's not going to be perfect, but we're going to do it. Okay, so let's get started with the first question. Here is Miss Deal 07, not 007, but Miss Deal 07. Go, girl. She says, since Mar-a-Lago is a crime scene, Tuesday's indictment, where they, number 1, gag the Orange Menace, and number 2, confiscate Florida property. So your questions were, will they gag him, and 2, will they confiscate his property? Well, you know, folks, if you watched the news at all, you probably saw, or even if you like just tuned in your little spidey senses, you can answer these questions. Walt Nauta, who's Trump's aide, and I mean really an aide, like this guy goes over and oh, you've got a leaf or a hair on your shoulder. I mean, this guy is really his personal valet. Got indicted as well. And the judge said, don't talk to this guy about the case. Well, we don't know if he's talking to this guy about the case, but Trump left there and went to a restaurant where he signed autographs and grifted off of being indicted. And there was Walt Nauta right there. So do you think they talked about the case? So no, they're not going to gag him in the sense, we're not going to get our whole list of gifts for our birthday. It's not going to happen. Okay. Or we're not going to get 100% justice. It's not going to happen. There's so many reasons why it's not going to happen, but I'm just going to tell you it's not going to happen. I would also say that Jack Smith is playing 5D chess and Trump is playing checkers on the corner. with whoever comes up to, he just thinks he's the corner king, right, with his checkers. Really and truly, what Jack is doing here is just giving Trump lots of rope. Don't talk to Walt Nauta. Maybe Walt Nauta is wired. You know what I mean? I mean, things are not what you think they are. Just because Trump has a lot of freedom doesn't mean he's really free. It means that they are giving him freedom to incriminate himself. Now, secondly, about Mar-a-Lago, I know probably precedent. There's probably lots of precedent where some mob king or some criminal's house got, confiscated because it was a crime scene. But I don't see Mar-a-Lago getting confiscated because it's a crime scene. Again, I feel like Jack Smith is like, well, now we've got the place bugged. Let's let him go back. So, yeah, I think things are not what we think they are. I really do. And I really do think there's going to be some kind of really thrilling movie or made for TV series about this. And it'll probably be 20 years from now when they can sort of let loose some of these secrets, right? But it's really going to be something. Okay, next question. Thank you for your question, Miss Deal 07. Next question is Jamie. Jamie K says, is the truck fire that caused the I-95 road collapse accidental or sabotage? And Rebecca Davis follows that up with, a while back, the guide said that there'd be a series of accidents, quote unquote, as such as train derailments and other such things in an effort to change the narrative. Is this oil tanker truck exploding under I-95 in Philadelphia, taking out a major thoroughfare on the East Coast, one of those accidents? Or is this related to U.S. Representative Clay Higgins' tweet for a call for violence? Okay. First of all, thank you for your questions, everybody, and Rebecca and Jamie. It's not related to Clay Higgins because the guides are saying don't give that man that much credit. He really is I'm not saying he's, they're not saying he's, what is the word? Not capable of causing violence. They're not saying that, but he doesn't have the power that he portrays that he does. He's a blowhard is what they're saying. Actually, he doesn't have the backing of the tweets or backing of his admonitions. Okay, now as far as the other part of your assertion here, yes, it is. The spirit guides are telling me this was sabotage. Again, they're using that word. This is the word they want to use. Maybe they're French. I don't know. It's a sabotage. They're reminding me that the only other time this happened in this way, in the sense that some truck got wrecked, lodged, exploded under an overpass, was in Atlanta. So another minority city, another diverse city. Philadelphia is a diverse city. Both of them are Democratic cities. And, they really want to do anything they can to make Buttigieg look bad and to make Biden look bad. And it doesn't really make them look bad, but in their world is very twisted. It's not reality. Remember, we know that. So these things actually give fuel to that, social media engine of pumping out lies. Okay. Now, the guides would say to you that this can also happen in a red state and in a red town or city because it works all the way around. So that, again, they want to bring up Putin. Putin has been known to attack his own country under a false flag to make his people believe that they were under attack so that they would follow him and his edicts more easily. Okay, so this is where we're going. The guides have talked about this a lot, right? This is where we're going, where it's going to be hard to suss out where things are coming from. Because if you use the analogy or you use the definition of they're only going to attack blue and then they attack red, then you're going to be confused, right? They attack everybody. The point is chaos, right? That is the point. The point is chaos. So yeah, this was not a accident. This was not an accident. And they're reminding me, remember when we went through all the attacks on the substations, the electric substations or the power substations. And then it kind of stopped because the feds wised up and put cameras and put people. The companies literally had to put guards. I mean, so we're going to wise up, and you're going to see cameras under overpasses. I mean, as we go through these next couple of years where the attacks are coming from within, the phone calls coming from within the country, you're going to see more lockdown of our police, of our life. And that, I know that doesn't feel good to Democrats a lot of time, but that's where we're going. And they told me this is where we were going. I wanted to wait and see if the timeline matched up, because even though I'm seeing a timeline, especially way out, a couple of years out, people have free will, and they can change on a dime, right? Some of these Republicans are changing. They're not going to be voting Republican. They may not vote at all. That's going to change some outcomes, right? So I wait to see if the timeline looks like it's following what I saw in my vision. This sort of looks like it's starting to firm up. Let me put it that way, where we're going to have less freedom in a sense, because our freedoms are under attack, and it's becoming a problem. It's just becoming a problem. That's all I can say about it. And it's a very slippery slope. I know it is. It's not authoritarianism. Don't get me wrong. Democrats are going to be in charge in 24, but you will see people say that. You will see people say the Democrats are now going to the right. That's not true. We're simply trying to uphold the laws, right? I mean, we have police that potentially can catch you if you run a red light. We're simply putting in more. We will be putting in more guardrails to protect us, more cameras, more surveillance. I know that freaks some people out, but it doesn't freak me out. You can video me all day long trying to, fix my bra strap or whatever it is you're looking at. I don't care. Good luck with that. Okay, let's move on. Mickey Walk says, too many questions. They have too many questions. Okay, well, that's a lot. Let's see. Here's your questions. Will China make a military move against any of its neighbors, including Taiwan, in the next 6 months? No. China's going through some things right now. China's going through some things right now. Well, I just saw a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, like I don't even know what all I saw. They're trying to right their ship. They've had this big real estate loss where they've had to demolish buildings, and because they're uninhabited, and their money is not good, as some people would say, and they're really trying to make money. Honestly, what I saw, this is for entertainment purposes only, allegedly, I see them trying to make money off of the Ukraine war on the down low. They're trying to make money off of something. They see the writing on the wall. They see that the United States is going to be pulling back some of their buying from China. So they don't really have the wherewithal right now to attack Taiwan. Also, they're monitoring the world temperature about attacking other countries, right? They just saw what happened with Ukraine. And I really believe that the guides are telling me that if China did try to take over Taiwan, there would be quite a lot of pushback from the international community. And I don't think you would see a same result. I don't think you would see the same result from all the countries that support Ukraine. I don't see you would see that with Taiwan. I think you would see a very big pushback from the United States. But I think what they would probably lose, they'd probably get sanctioned. So it's tricky. I don't see them attacking Taiwan in the next 6 months. You're asking 12 months or 24 months. I can't go out 24 months. Really and truly, China's trying to do some things right now. They're trying to figure out how they can balance their budget, balance their money. Their money is all jacked up right now. Their economy is messed up. They're still reeling from the pandemic. You have to remember that we don't really know what's going on inside China. It's pretty shrouded and clouded, the information that comes out. and I saw a bat. So that might mean a very quick metaphor of there could be another problem that China has. I'm not saying it's going to escape and come here, but I feel like they may have another virus that might come out in China. And again, a bat to me means something's jumped, a virus has jumped out of the animal that it typically resides in into humans. Okay, so that doesn't bode well. I don't see that happening. I don't see whatever that is escaping into the rest of the world, but I do think it's going to affect China. So yeah, I don't see them. I just don't see them doing it right now. I think the world got the memo about Ukraine. We all need to mind our own business, and we need to stop attacking other countries. I think the world citizens have come together, and the world citizens are putting pressure on their leaders. It's not the leaders. I don't trust the leaders to have, the backbone to do anything, but the world's citizens are starting to speak up and stand up. And that is becoming pressure on these leaders. Thank you for your question there. Make you walk. Okay. Minuit Maya has a question about Scotland. Nicola Sturgeon, Scotland's first minister for the last 8 years, until she unexpectedly resigned in February. And then she was arrested and released after questioning over finances for the Scottish National Party. She was the leader of the party. Her husband was the former chief executive of the party and the former treasurer, also arrested and released. Investigation is continuing. Will police Scotland find sufficient evidence to charge her? Yes, they will find sufficient evidence, but I don't see her doing prison time anytime soon. I think this is going to drag out, but I think in the meantime, what's going to happen is it's going to expose the underbelly. It's going to expose there's shocking things that happen. There's surprising things that happen. There's, as we say in America, shock and awe, right? So you're going to see some things that everybody's going to say, wow, we didn't know that was happening. It gives Scotland a chance. Again, you're going through the same thing. Boris Johnson finally just stepped down in the UK. We have Trump being indicted, arraigned here in the United States. You're seeing the same thing. Do bad things, pay big price, right? So I think you guys are going to have an opportunity to see what's rotten and to fix it and to get it out of your finances, out of your government. So that's what I get with that. I wish I could say she's going to jail, but it's a lot like Trump. These leaders really are untouchable in a lot of ways. Getting her out of your government, sanctioning her, separating her from any duties of power will go a long way. It's not like Trump. Trump is a whole different animal. Okay, Plumtree says, is there an element of coercion behind Kimberly Guilfoyle's vehement defense of TFG? Is she really being coerced? I think that she was this person her base personality is the same, but I really feel like she's been indoctrinated. So coerced, yes. Indoctrinated, I think, means something a little different. I really feel like it's a cult, and I really feel like it's like the mob. They're showing me the mob. You can be a guy who's a criminal, right? You can be a woman who's a criminal, and then you can get involved in the mob, and that's not good enough, right? Because you need to be made. You need to kill somebody so that we know we've got something on you, right? That you're never, ever going to turn on us. Look at Weisselberg, right? I'm still not convinced he's not going to flip. There's a lot of energy, guys. I mean, honestly, it's like 3 options, and any 3 of these options is possible. You get unalived, you flip, or you stay true and you do time. Unalive, flip, stay true, do time. Which of these, at any given time, any of these people could be tapped for one of these options. Okay, this is the energy. I can't tell which one of these things is going to happen to these people. There's too many competing forces and energies happening all at once. And they're all different. You know, what Putin wants is different than what Trump wants, and what Trump wants is different than what Saudi Arabia wants. And maybe there's even a fourth or fifth layer of this. And, you know, nobody's in charge here. It's a mess. So yeah, I think she has been coerced, but I would say that initially she wasn't someone who was goody two shoes, so to speak. Okay. So thank you for your question. Okay, let's go to the next question. Tibby Taylor says, another question, will there be evidence that 45 sold or traded documents to foreign entities? Yes. Yes, he did. Sold or traded. That's a good, traded is an interesting word. Traded for what, right? That's a very interesting word. It's that quid pro quo energy that he has, right? They're showing me those NFTs. Is it NFT? What are those things? Those digital. I'm telling you, there was something about that. There was something about that. But yes, he did. There will be evidence that he sold documents. And I'm afraid that it could be what we talked about in the last video with the Saudi Arabian prince saying, I have something for you. You know, Trump left this when he stayed over. And, you know, we're going to be embarrassed. In other words, yes, for sure. We're going to find out that Trump sold it. And I think that we're going to find out without any doubt that it's true. Of course, the other side will deny it, but I think, yes, we will find that out. Patty Sylvan Butterfly, thank you for your question, says, the indictment shows pics of docs in ballrooms, bathroom showers, etc. During their time there, did foreign or enemy agents ever just get into those boxes and rummage around in addition to whatever the former guy may have shown or given to people otherwise? So your question is like, you know, there's a foreign agent that's pretending to be something else and they walk into the ballroom and get busy, right? Like the whole get smart thing, you know, gets out his shoe and takes pictures, right? Yes, absolutely. We know there were foreign agents there. There was a woman who was actually arrested that Trump didn't even know was there. She pretended to be a family member of one of the members of the club, and they literally found her on the property and arrested her. And yes, she was a foreign national. So that's one that Trump didn't even know about. Right now, the guides are showing me, if you remember in the beginning, when this whole document case blew up, there's a tunnel that takes you, what the guides, and I think this is correct, it's a tunnel from Mar-a-Lago that takes you to the beach. You know, so the rich people don't have to walk out in the public. They can just go right under the tunnel and go straight to the beach, right? Well, in that tunnel, there was a storage room that I believe was unlocked, and there were documents in there accessible. Yes. Now, some of this was, what's that word? Premeditated by, this is allegedly and for entertainment purposes only, premeditated by people within 45's group. Do you understand what I'm saying? Wink, wink. There's a box we left out in the tunnel, right? So, and what bothers me about that is it's public, right? So anybody can just pull up, maybe even on a jet ski, grab something and take off, or walk up. And then I believe there's a road very close to that and meet somebody and take off. I mean, it's a very accessible. The word is accessible. So yes, both things did happen. The guides are saying people did show up and rummage around. Now, what I'm also getting, and the guides told you, by the way, the guides told you last year that there would be people employed by Mar-a-Lago that would have known about this, you know, like dishwashers, cooks, groundskeepers, personnel that would know about this. And we now know that Jack Smith does have some of those people on his witness list that are operating or working with the feds. Now, what I just got was that, because that just gets crazier and crazier, because some of these people knew. So if one person knew something important is in those boxes and told somebody else, and somebody else told somebody else, then all of a sudden You have somebody that says, well, I want to get in on this, right? And they go and grab a handful of documents, right? Nobody's watching the documents. There's no camera on the documents. It's just out of control, right? And then they're trying to peddle the documents, in whatever market they have access to, which is not a market that buys top secret documents. It might be a market that buys a really nice Gucci or, handbag. So, it's going to get really messy. And I do believe this is going to be public. This is going to come out. So yes, the answer is yes, yes, plus more is going to come out. Just Beachy says, Just Beachy, you're concerned about China. Again, there have been deliberate near misses back to back. Are we at risk for military attack? No, we are not. Will China ever be held responsible in the world court for devastation it's caused the world with COVID? No, it will not. I'm sorry. 1-800-SPIRIT Guides. Press 1 for complaints. I know I'm not telling you guys what you want to hear, but the world is not a fair place. We have to understand that China is a very powerful country. China owns a lot of the United States debt. They could call that debt tomorrow if they wanted to. They could, there's a lot of other things they have besides attacking us in a military way. They can cripple us. They can decide not to ship us goods. I mean, they could cripple us in a lot of ways. I mean, they could say, oh, our factory broke down that makes the very thing that you need that, maybe powers the United States or supplies an automaker. And then all of a sudden the automakers in the White House going, hey, what are you doing over here? We need this part and it's coming from China and you're jacking up our business, right? There's a lot of ways that China can coerce or control us that have nothing to do with a shot being fired. I really think going forward, you're not going to see attacks, military attacks. You're going to see tactical warfare through propaganda, through dividing a country, through and also these attacks like through GDP, through controlling the products that you send. That's why we've told you guys that Biden, when he got in office, one of the first things he did was he started talking to all the other Democratic countries and said, hey, we'll help you build more factories. We're going to build more factories here in the United States. We need to bring this stuff home. That's why he passed the CHIP Act, because the CHIP Act, everything we have runs on a chip. So he brought the chips home. So you see now the way Biden is playing 5D chess too. And that's why we need another 4 years of a Democratic president who wants to bring the profits home, pay Americans more money, pay Americans a living wage, stop these corporations from taking our dollars to some other country and paying that country a measly amount of money and taking advantage of them, right? So this is all good. I see it's all good. They have some power over us, but I don't think the power quotient is out of whack. I think we have the power right now. So that's what I would say about China. Stephen Jacob Coffey says, let's see. Okay, he has a question about the lingering student loan forgiveness. It seems to be something that has been in limbo for over a year now. We are all waiting for the ruling from SCOTUS. Will they uphold the executive order? Or if they strike it down, will there be a backup plan from the Biden administration? Yes. Let me separate all those questions, because the guides, they like one question at a time, like just the facts, ma'am. Okay, so will SCOTUS strike it down? Wow. So right. So they're showing me, SCOTUS has they've already ruled just recently, surprisingly, right? They've already ruled for voting rights. They're starting, it's what the guides told you everybody would do. Everybody got the memo. Oh, snap. We don't want all this attention. We told you this, that the courts didn't want the attention of the Federalist Society or whoever they are. And whoever their handlers are said, pull back, act normal, get within the guardrails, because we need Americans to not pay attention. We don't want to draw attention to ourselves. And if you guys are outside of the bounds that apparently Americans are now paying attention and they're investigating, and their investigations are going to lead them back to us. We don't want that. So get back within, what I would say, established law, right? Get back within the guardrails of what Americans want. So I don't think they're going to strike it down. If they do, it's by one vote. And this isn't over. The Democrats want this. Biden wants this. We will have a majority, if not in 24, then before 24. Okay, so then we'll pass it with a bigger margin. And I do believe that some of these Supreme Court people are going to be caught up in the various investigations. I do believe that the American people have a bad taste in their mouth about Thomas and his super rich bro boyfriend giving him all those vacations. So I think that if we find out more scandalous information, that the American people will put more pressure on SCOTUS. So I think they're gonna get back in their lane. Okay. And if they don't, when Congress passes it, they won't challenge it. It won't be challenged, because by then these Republicans are going to get their own conviction or indictments. They're going to get their own little, slips in the mail. And that's going to change everything. So just hold on. I know this is frustrating. Also, I don't know why somebody's asking about the Dreamers. You guys are not asking about the Dreamers. Maybe you're asking about the Dreamers, Stephen. But it's the same thing with the Dreamers. The Dreamers are just on pins and needles again, right? Like, will we be able to stay? Will we get thrown out of the country the only country we've ever known? These things are going to get sorted out. I don't know why they wanted me to talk about that, but it is going to get sorted out. Okay, thank you for your question, Stephen. Maggie Who says, okay, the question is, in the future, will there be an easier way to get some of these totally crazy and absolutely unqualified judges off the bench? Yes. Again, that's interesting, because they're showing me it's the same energy of the United States putting cameras under. I don't know why we're putting cameras under bridges, because that's not going to stop somebody pulling in and their truck catching on fire, right? I mean, if it's a detonated or a timed device, we're going to find out about that some other way. So there must be another reason for putting cameras under bridges. But anyway, it's the same energy of us tightening our laws, bringing our laws, just tightening them. So yes, tightening our ethics, tightening our laws, even around judges, even around police officers, even around presidents. So we're going to go through this period of about 3 years where there's some back and forth, but overall forward momentum around strengthening ethics rules, putting teeth in ethics rules, putting teeth in laws regarding police officers, judges, government officials, presidents. Again, we might slide a little too far. I don't know. I'm not saying we're ever going to be an authoritarian. No way. We're a democracy. We're a republic that operates through a democracy. But I do think that we will become more law and order, because we have to, because things are really the guides always say that these countries will foment desires of violence amongst Americans to use our freedom against us, because that's their best way of teaching their own people freedom is bad. Freedom is bad. That's why a lot of sort of first generation immigrants, we can point directly to the Cubans in Florida who support Trump. They come from these authoritarian dictatorship type governments. They come to America. It's too free for them. It's too wild for them. They want more laws. They feel comfortable with more guardrails, more control. They don't want maybe an authoritarian, but they certainly don't want this free craziness that our democracy has. So by us having these people that would flaunt our laws to the degree that it makes it, guns, I mean, is a good one, right? That makes it look, okay, you want the Second Amendment. Second Amendment says I can do anything I want with this gun, right? And then we start passing stand your ground bills, and then it gets out of control, right? It's out of control. Our freedoms are drowning us. So you're going to see a time where our freedoms are going to be curtailed, and that's coming. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question plus more. Ruthie H says, I was wondering about a certain MAGA psychic who keeps predicting some crazy stuff. Is it just a con job, or are they actually reading the energy and maybe interpreting it incorrectly? It flummoxes us, doesn't it? It embarrasses me, honestly. It's like when somebody in your profession just acts a fool and you just don't want to be associated with them, It's a con job. Okay. The guides just said it's a con job. It's a con artist. She's a con artist. She's getting paid a lot of money to do this. She's grifting off of these people, and it's a con job. So there's your answer. Your second question was another quick one. Do they know who the January 6th bomber is? Can they remember? Can't remember what I heard last about this. Okay. So what I've heard, let me check with the guides. Let me just check with the guides and not. The guides say they have a very good idea, although they need more evidence. This is not the guides need more evidence. This is the FBI needs more evidence. They don't have, right, because we just talked about the courts, right? Because the courts, and we're talking about the appellate courts, or the courts that these type of people might see their day in court in. A lot of those courts have judges that were appointed under a different administration, 45's administration. They're not trustworthy. They're not following the law, quote unquote. So the FBI feels like they have to have an airtight case. I mean, they will not go, and they're reminding me, the feds, this is the way the feds operate. They have like a 99% conviction rate because they don't take the case to court unless they know they're going to nail it. They don't even take it to court unless they know they can nail it. So this problem with the pipe bomber is that they know who it is, yes, but they don't have all the evidence they need for this to be a slam dunk case. Is the person, let me just ask them, is the person that the FBI thinks it is it related to anybody in Congress? Okay, it can be traced back to somebody in Congress. I don't think it's MTG. I don't think it's Lauren Boebert. I think it's somebody who dressed to look like, who specifically wanted to look like her. That's what I think. I think they walked the way she does. They wore the shoes. Again, guys, our lesson here is just because you see it on video doesn't mean it's what you think it is. This is our lesson, you guys. So just because somebody walks like her, imitates the arm, and wears the shoes and has padded clothing, everybody thinks it's this person. Welcome to our new world where you are going to be deep faked. Okay. So, but this person does have a connection to Congress. And that's part of the problem as well. Oh, okay. So this person has a connection to Congress. I'm seeing somebody that has J&J in their name, who's in Congress. And so, right. So as Jack Smith investigates the Jan 6, which is the next thing he's doing, this will likely be part of that case. I'm just going to leave it there. Okay, let's do just a few more. Okay, Joyce Gibson says, are any countries in the United States in serious security risk for these documents being mishandled by DJT or 45, or were some of the more top secret documents preemptively falsified for 45 due to his malignant disposition? Okay, those are great questions, Joyce. The first answer is we already had security risk, and this is for entertainment purposes only, and allegedly, is that there were also, under 45's reign of terror, there were a lot of assets, intelligence assets, that started being targeted and killed. These are actually people, but the CIA just basically talks to them like they're products, like our product in this country has been extinguished, right? There were a lot of people that got killed. And this is when 45 was in office, and it's connected to, I have to be really careful here. It's okay. This part was published. I mean, parts of this stuff I'm telling you actually was published. It was published that Jared Kushner got a list of the Prince Saudi's enemies from somewhere and gave it to the Saudi prince, and that enemies, quote unquote, and then that there was a direct line. We can't say anything but there was a direct line that then his own uncle was disappeared, was put in some faraway place, possibly in prison. And then people started dying. Now, can you draw a direct line to all of these things? You can make your own mind up. Yes. So, yes, I think so. Will we ever cop to this? Will we ever admit this? I think we have literally a 50% chance, because America doesn't want its dirty laundry aired. It would rather bury it in the backyard and go on and have all the American people eat apple pie and think that America is amazing. Okay. So that's your first question. The second question was more top secret documents. Okay. So your second question was, perhaps, did some of these top secret documents get falsified before DJT or his minions or his son-in-law get a chance to disseminate them? Not really. No, not really. Maybe very rarely. I see the generals not even wanting to get involved to the degree that they falsified it, because if they falsified it, there's a record that they knew that Trump was doing it. So if they get involved, even to help America, now all of a sudden they're complicit. Well, if you knew enough to falsify it, why didn't you stop it? It's very gray in a lot of ways. Trump was their boss, and they had to do everything he said to do. But I think in this day and age, now that we are on the other side of this, they could be court-martialed, right? So it was a very unprecedented time in the White House. They're telling me unprecedented with the Joint Chief of Staff. There was infighting in the Joint Chief of Staff about what to do. It was literally, they're telling me if these men had not been in better physical condition, some of them probably would have died of a heart attack. That is the level of stress that they had on their physical body during that time. So hopefully that answers your question, Joyce. Harry Polakowski says, we haven't heard a lot from or about Ron Johnson lately. Please tell me that he will be encountering some legal trouble. I'm getting the words, he will go down. He will go down. Will he encounter legal trouble? Yes. Legal trouble is a big word. It could be that his neighbor sues him. I mean, when we say legal trouble, it's not very specific. So if I say yes, I mean, anything could happen. Legal trouble. He could get a DUI. He could get a speeding ticket. I mean, anything could happen, right? So, but the fact that I said the words DUI is, I don't say words by accident. Words are not said by accident. So, allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. I think the question we want to know is, will he step down or be removed? I mean, that's the question I want to know, right? Will Ron Johnson step down? I see him getting hit by an energetic truck. that he never sees coming, big dummy. Oh, messy, messy, messy. Oh, yeah. Okay. He might be hounded out of office. There could be allegedly some accusations regarding some improprieties with other people or other things that really look damaging and unsavory. And I know that usually Republicans don't step down for these kinds of things, so they haven't been lately, but I feel like this may remove him. I feel like this is a bridge too far for his constituents. So I think he may step down. I don't have a timeline. Timing is crazy. It's so hard to do. There's energy around this happening towards the fall. It might become known in the summer this year or next year. He might keep it on the down low even until next year, but his days are numbered. There is something brewing that's going to take him out. This person might be underage. I think that's what it is. Okay, let me know if that happens. I don't watch the news. Okay, Eva Martin, crack myself up, says someone, maybe you, Susan, maybe it was. I just said I don't know what I just said. Recently said authorities know who owns the car. Okay, that the pipe bomber. We just talked about the pipe bomber. Yes, Eva, I just talked about it. Thank you so much. Okay, last question. Denise G says, will Ken Paxton, this is Texas stuff, which is important because if we can start toppling these kingpins, the word they want to use again, if you watch the last video or one of those videos, you understand the kingpin knocks all the other pins down. So they're using that word again for a reason. These words they use are important. So Ken Paxton is the kingpin, and he's an indicted attorney general in Texas. He's been indicted since before Trump went into office. Because Trump was in office, Ken Paxton was able to sort of dance around these charges and not be held accountable. Now we have Biden in office, and now the energy is really moving against him to hold him accountable. He's really going to be held accountable now. And our own House, Texas House, impeached him. Now he goes before the Senate to be impeached this fall. And this is a big deal. Texas doesn't do this kind of thing to Republicans. Texas is Republican. We are the Republican brand practically. So this is a big deal. This should show you that Republicans are turning against Republicans because they're trying to get rid of those ones that are exposing the rest of them. It's the same energy over and over and over again. It's the same energy throughout the whole world, even in Scotland, even in the UK. In the UK, they got rid of Boris Johnson. They're going to sacrifice these leaders because they want people to stop sniffing around. They want the light to stop shining on them. So they keep hoping if we get rid of Ken Paxton, maybe they won't come after Abbott, the governor. Maybe they won't come after Patrick, the lieutenant governor. Maybe they won't come after me, the congressperson. That's not the case. They're going to come after you too. There's no hiding, Ron Johnson. There's no hiding. Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Boebert, MTG. There's no hiding. They're coming after you. The light won't stop looking for you. But let's let them think that. Okay. So the question is, will the Texas Senate vote to impeach him? Right now, I get a no. It doesn't mean that he's not going to be held accountable. It doesn't mean that the feds aren't going to indict him and convict him, because they will. If the Senate doesn't have the balls or the ovaries, depending, to convict him, to impeach him, then the feds will. Trust me, he's not going to be in power in another year. He's not going to be in power. Your next question is, will his senator wife, yes, this man's wife is a senator, recuse herself from voting? I think she will. They're telling me she will. If impeached by the Senate, which he won't be, will governors Governor Abbott's interim appointee, John Scott, remain. So I don't see I think you think he's going to be impeached. And listen, this is June, that's in August. Between June and August, what can happen is the feds can start investigating some of these people. A lot can happen that hasn't happened yet. If the feds pull the trigger to start investigating some of these people, then we've got a different ballgame. Okay. Yes, they could impeach him or convict him in the Senate so that they get rid of him. Again, the same energy. And I'm telling you right now, there's something going on in Texas politics. I see Democrats being investigated. I can't think of his name, but he's already been raided by the FBI. He's a Democrat. I can't quite get his name, but you know who he is. He's a Hispanic man. I think there's investigations happening in Texas that's going to change Texas politics. Okay, that's going to really kaboom, blow up Texas politics. So stay tuned because it's about to get really messy and shock and awe. It's about to get shock and awe in Texas, which is great because once we start, indicting, impeaching, convicting people in Texas, believe you me, those Congress people in Missouri, in Tennessee, in Georgia, in Mississippi, Alabama, in Nevada, wherever you are, in Florida, they're going to take notice and they're going to sit up and stop criming because they're going to hope to escape the light that's coming for all of them. There is no escape. The light is the light. The light just doesn't shine on one little patch and not on the other. It's going to shine everywhere. If you've done the crime, you're going to do the time. This is the energy, law and order. We're going into the law and order land, the law and order time frame of our timeline. And this is everywhere. Tightening up the laws, tightening up of the ethics, holding people accountable. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this part 2 of my Spirit Guides Answer Your Political Questions. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I really appreciate you. If you've enjoyed this content, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is free, okay? I'll be back later with more information because this is a developing story, you guys, and the guides are ready to answer your questions, okay? Take really good care of yourself. We'll talk soon. For entertainment purposes only.